We'll start with our Mangala Acharan. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurulminitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langaya Degrim Yat Kripatam Ham Vande Shri Guru Deen Taranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chadanam Ishwaram Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vishnu Putale Nimate Vijay Pataka Swami Dinamine Namachara Padaya Nitaya Kripa Pradayine Gaurakatha Damaya. So, Hare Krishna, everybody. So, we are reading Srimad. We are discussing Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, and we have reached chapter 20. So, as we know, in this canto started with details about Vidura and how Vidura met Uddhava, and then he inquires some things, but Uddhava directs Vidura to Maitreya Rishi, and there was a lot of chapters we saw went into the creation of this material world, and then we enter into the beautiful pastimes of Varahadev by discussing about Jaya Vijay, the pastimes of Jaya Vijay, how they get cursed to become demons, and how Diti and Kashyap they unite, and Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha are born. A lot of inauspicious things happen, and then we saw that how Hiranyaksh and there is fight happens between Hiranyaksh, last 2 chapters, where Hiranyaksh and Lord Varahadev fight happens, and beautifully Anchal Prabhu last time he explained how this thing was, he was killed, our Hiranyaksh. So now this, with the end of this pastime, the story has to go into second section of this 3rd canto, which is the advent of Kapil Dev and discussion between Kapil Dev and Devahuti. So that section will have almost like 12-13 chapters now after this. But this chapter in between is the context setting for that further chapters. So as I said, in the previous many chapters, the creation of universe was discussed. So again, in this chapter, there is some sort of that discussion is there. So let me share the screen. So I just thought I'll discuss briefly this chapter because this chapter is, I should not use the word, but little boring in the sense it's all about the creation of Rakshasas and all those kind of things. So I was just thinking I'll try to finish it fast and then discuss some interesting pastimes of Narsimdev in, Gaur Leela. We, last week we could not have our session. That was primarily based on the assumption that generally when we have Brahmotsav, so there are programs, back-to-back programs, morning, evenings, and all that. So we thought it may be a little bit hectic schedule. So me and Swami Prabhu discussed that, okay, let's not have its session last Saturday. But later we realized that the schedule was not so hectic, but then it was too late. So otherwise we could have discussed some sweet pastimes of Narsimdev. So anyway, hopefully devotees have done some Shravanam during the Narsimha Chaturdashi. So best part of about Krishna conscious life is that, various festivals keep coming. And when any particular festival comes, we hear or read about that particular pastime of the Lord and try to consolidate our bhakti. So hopefully you all have read and heard about Narsimdev pastime. I also heard some of the nice lectures on Narsim Leela. And from that, I taken some notes which I'm going to, hopefully enough time is there, we'll discuss those in the second section of our session today. So this, as I was saying, last session, he explained how Varahadev, killed Hiranyaksh, and the chapter ended with that. Devatas glorifying Lord Narayana in the form of Varahadev. So now, again, the conversation comes back. So, there are many layers of conversation going on. One is between Maitreya and Vidura, but that conversation is spoken by Sut Goswami to Sonak Rishi, and Sut Goswami has heard all this conversation in the assembly of Shukdev Goswami, where he is telling to Parikshit Maharaj. So there are many layers of conversation. So now we have come one layer up, where Shaunak Rishi is again asking about further details from the Sut Goswami. And Sut Goswami again will go back into the conversation between Maitreya and Vidura. So this chapter starts, I'm sharing, I didn't prepare any PPG today because I thought this chapter was little dry relatively. So basically Shaunak Rishi, he asked Sut Goswami that after Varahadev killed Hiranyaksh, and Earth was situated into the orbit again. So what did Swayambhu Manu do to show the path of liberation to the persons who have taken birth later on? So indirectly, he is asking that what is the benefit for the human in general, and how the Swayambhu Manu, who is the first, Manu means that he is the first human being. Another name for that is known as Prajapatis. So Prajapatis are the people who are responsible for procreation, creating the population on the earth. So directly, Shaunak Rishi is asking from Sut Goswami that, what did Swayambhu Manu do? So Shaunak Rishi also inquires about Vidura. So I found it interesting in this shloka that when he's talking about Vidura, so translation of second shloka is that Shaunak Rishi inquired about Vidura, who was a great devotee, friend of Lord Krishna, who gave up the company of his elder brother because later, along with his son, placed tricks against the desire of the Lord. And this chapter does not have very long purports in most of the shlokas, but wherever the shloka talks about either Krishna directly or the devotees of Krishna, Prabhupada writes some interesting purports. So, although Prabhupada is not going too much detail into some of the shlokas where creation is being discussed, creation of the universe is being discussed. So, that clearly shows that for a devotee, the point of interest is the bhakti to the Lord, to know about more about Lord or his devotees, so that we can become more and more more and more attracted to the pastimes of the Lord. Yesterday in our reading session, we were discussing that when Krishna enters into Mathura, the various attendees of that or various dhamvasis of Mathura, they look at Krishna in different way. Like, for example, Kamsa is looking at Krishna as his death. Young women are looking at Krishna and Balram at their, companion. Brajvasis are looking at Krishna and Balram as their friend. Mathuravasis are looking at some very, to say, very elaborate kings who have come to save them. Like that. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tham sada bhajamyam. So whatever our bhava is, accordingly we are able to, Krishna reciprocates with us. So more and more we read and hear about Krishna, more and more our attraction towards the Lord increases. So here, Shri talks about three things. He is a great devotee. He is a friend of Lord Krishna, and he gave up the company of his elder brother because his sons were playing tricks. So, one important thing to, I don't know how many of you remember, many sessions back, one Brajeshwari Vinita Mataji had taken one session on Vidura, and she has shared very many pastimes of Vidura, how what happened in his life. And one of the things is that when Dhritarashtra and his sons were not listening to him, he left. He left the kingly palace and all that. He left everything and he went into the on Dham Yatra. So so Vidura is a very great personality. So what devotees do, whenever they talk about some other devotee, they talk about the great qualities of that person. I think one of the important lesson here is that we all should also learn to look at the good quality. So problem with that, what happens is that we go to temple, we meet other devotees, and what happens is we have so much conditioning that we always look for the faults in others. That's how we have been grown up, and that conditioning is very strong. So we find it very difficult to look at the good qualities of others. And because of them, that's this problem, what happens is that after some time our bhakti starts becoming dry, because we start looking anyway, there is no great devotees. Because when we read Bhagavatam, we are reading about Prahlad Maharaj, we are reading Dhruv Maharaj, Amrish Maharaj, all, so we expect all people around us also should be like great devotees like Prahlad Maharaj. But Prabhupada say that ISKCON is like a hospital, so it's a process. We all are going through the process of purification. So sometimes our expectations are so high that we start looking low about everybody else around us, and that is a problem with our false ego, which we pump around us, that I am a great devotee and anybody else is not a great devotee anyway. I have to just manage with them because I have to manage with bhakti. I'll take this thing, but I am still a great devotee than anybody else. So that kind of feeling is very, very, dangerous. So what we should do, many senior devotees and talks about this, is that when we meet some devotees, we should talk good about them. We should look for some good qualities in them. And, so that, when we talk, so then the tendency of finding faults in other will reduce. So, many a times, devotee, they come, but as a person who is getting appreciated for this thing, we should know that yes, being a Vaishnava, other person is appreciating me, but I don't have much quality. I have still long way to go ahead in bhakti. So don't get carried away. We should not get carried away by the appreciation. We should know that, it's a quality of other Vaishnavas who just appreciate us. But on the other line, just to avoid that fault finding tendency, what we should do is we should look at other good qualities of others. So that's what, Shaunak Rishi is doing here. He's comparing that Vidura is born out of the body of Vyasdev. We all know that Vyasdev was a father of Vidura. Uh, so, so he's non-different from Vyasdev. He was equally intelligent, knowledgeable, and uh, great devotee like Vyasdev. And Vyasdev is considered as a literary incarnation of, Lord Krishna. So Vidura gets purified, then Shaunak Rishi is saying that Vidura went into the various sacred places, and at last he reached, Haridwar, where he met the great sages. So one of the important lessons for our spiritual life is that we should take, as far as possible, opportunity to take association with the devotees. And that too, if we are getting opportunity to visit various pilgrimage places, sacred places, we should look for the association there. For example, we go to Vrindavan, Mayapur, and other. If you have observed how the yatras happen in ISKCON, when we go with devotees, generally we try to find out if we can get some good speaker who can tell us some great pastimes, or we ourselves should make arrangement that all of us are discussing the some sweet pastimes of the Lord in the dham. It should not be like after Corona, it has become you go to any pilgrim place, it is big crowd, and people have suddenly, I don't know if they have become very religious or what. You don't get any place anywhere. But that's not the, while most of the people do it, that they just go to for sightseeing to, different temples, which is better than not going. I'm not criticizing that here, that people should not go to these places. But point is that Bhagavatam explains that the usefulness of visiting a dham is that when you take association of the sadhus there and you inquire from them, you hear submissively. That helps us to make progress in the spiritual life. So, okay, so chapter further continues. So Shaunak Rishi inquires about conversation between Vidura and Maitreya, which is the whole, this canto is like that. So he is saying that, hearing the sweet pastimes of the Lord is like taking bath in Ganga. It can free one from all sinful reactions. So we all know that our Shastras very clearly say that if we take bath in Ganga, all sinful reactions get washed away. But the problem is the tendency to do sinful activity does not go away. For that, we have to do here Hari Katha. So all the anarthas which are there in our hearts, they don't get that, cleared by taking bath in Ganga. So for that, we should take association of devotees and hear these sweet pastimes of the Lord from them or discuss with them. So that's what is happening in whole Srimad Bhagavatam. If you see, everything is a conversation between the devotee. So Sut Goswami, yes, Shaunak Rishi is glorifying Sut Goswami, say, all good fortune to you. Please narrate the activities of the Lord, which are magnanimous and worth glorifying. What sort of devotee can be satiated by the hearing the nectarian pastimes of the Lord? So in Bhagavad Gita also Krishna says, Mat Gatta Mat Gadgan Bodhayanta Parasparam. So when the devotees of the Lord, they meet together, what they do, they discuss the sweet pastimes of the Lord. And what happens is Tushyanticha Ramanticha. So they feel satisfied and they feel enjoyed. They enjoy that. So that's what Sud Goswami is saying. So, Shaunak Rishi is saying, and to answer that, Sud Goswami says, he starts the discussion about, so basically the question was that what did Prajapatis like Manu did. So now for that, Sud Goswami starts answering. He starts telling various things before going to the point of, how the Prajapatis were created. So Sud Goswami says that, Vidura, the descendant of Bharata, was delighted to hear the story of the Lord, who, having assumption by his own divine potency in the form of. So basically, when the Vidura heard about the story of Varahadev, who is the Lord in the form of a boar, killing this thing, Hiranyaksh, Vidura became very satisfied. And then he's further asking the question. He says, please tell me, what did Brahma do to create living beings after evolving the Prajapatis? So, living beings, specifically Prajapatis, are considered as the creator of the human beings. So, to answer that, so he specifically talks about Marichi and Swayambhu Manu. So, so he is asking that, okay, so Prajapatis, they unite with their wives to create the progeny, or they did something different? So Maitreya Rishi then again goes back to the what we had already discussed in some of the previous chapters, that how the three modes of material nature, they are in the what you say, unmanifested form. So there is something we had discussed earlier also, that whenever the pralaya happened, when the Lord inhales, Mahavishnu inhales, so then what happens is that all the creation goes inside the body of Mahavishnu. And when Lord exhales, everything comes out. So when this creation is in the unmanifested form, there are two terms which are being used, Pradhan and Mahatattva. So Mahatattva is agitated form of unmanifested form of the material world. While Pradhan is when the three modes of material nature, they mix and they are agitated by the glance of Mahavishnu, then the real creation happens. So in second and third canto, we had discussed this in detail when Lord glanced upon the unmanifested Mahatattva, then Pradhan gets created. Pradhan is the edge where in the unmanifested form, three modes of material nature, they come and mix. And from there, the material creation starts. So we had discussed many things like how senses are created, how different mixture of in second and third canto initial chapters that how from the body this of Mahavishnu various parts what different things come and all those things we have displayed. But here in this chapter the specific details is about when the mode of passion, which is rajas, and the mode of ignorance, which is tamas, is in what to say in great in greater quantity, then what all elements were created. So uh, one interesting thing about in 13th shloka is that the false ego, which is one of the components. There are 24 components of material creation. So from the ego, there involved many groups of 5 principles. So when we talk about 24 elements of material creation in Bhagavad Gita, also Prabhupada touches this point. There are 5, Panchabhutas are there: earth, water, air, fire, and ether, right? So this is one group of 5 principles, okay? Then there are 5 sense objects, which is, I'm highlighting this on the screen, whoever can see. So sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. This is one of the group of 5 principles. Then there are 5 knowledge acquiring senses, which is the eyes, nose, tongue, ear, and skin. And then there are 5 working senses, which is speech, hands, feet, anus, and genitals. So these are the 4 groups of 5 elements, which makes us 20. And then we have mind, intelligence, and ego, which are the 3 elements. So it becomes 23. And then the 24th element is unmanifested, which is Mahat Tattva. So like that, there are 24 elements of material creation. So these all were created by Brahma, and this was explained in the previous chapters as well. So now, Lord further, so now this further explained is that, this universe, this material universe, what happens is get created, but with the help of energy of the Lord, it comes out as a shining egg. That's why we call it Brahmand. Anda means egg. So this Brahmand is in the form of a egg. So this, for thousands of years, this shiny egg is lying in the water of the causal ocean in the lifeless state, unless the Lord Vishnu enters in the this egg. So Garbhodakshaya, we had discussed there are 3 types of Vishnus are there, or 3 expansions of Vishnus are there, which is Karnodakshaya Vishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and Shirodakshaya Vishnu. So Karnodakshaya Vishnu is Mahavishnu, which is the original Vishnu. Then Garbhodakshaya Vishnu enters into each and every universe. So that's what is mentioned here, that Lord in the form of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu enters into each universe. And then we have the Shirodakshaya Vishnu, which is the another expansion of Mahavishnu, which enters into each and every atom or particle of this particular universe. So Garbhodaksha, as we know that from the navel of Garbhodaksha Vishnu, Brahma comes out. On the lotus comes out, on the lotus Brahma comes. And, Lord enters into the heart of Lord Brahma, and he gives him the intelligence to create various this thing. So in this chapter, basically the more about the ignorance or aspect of creation is explained. For example, in the 18th shloka, it is explained that Brahma created from his shadow the covering of ignorance of the conditioned souls. So conditioned souls are, as we know, that there are different rajas, tamas, and satoguna are there, right? So some of the qualities of ignorance are created by Brahma from his shadow. And what are their names? Tamishra, Andha Tamishra, Tamas, Moha, and Mahamoha. So Prabhupada has said a paper on this, what is Tamishra, what is Andha Tamishra. So Tamishra is basically the representation of anger. Andha Tamishra is basically about considering this life to be everything and considering death to be at the end of everything, this life. Then from the Andha Tamishra is due to tamas. So tamas is also another material condition of ignorance in which a living entity just identifies itself with the uh, body, not the soul. So ignorance of not identifying ourselves as the soul, but the only body is tamas. So this tamas leads to what? If we are identifying ourselves with this body, then what will happen is our moha will generate, our attachment will generate to our what? Body. And then the higher stage of that moha is that I identify myself with the society, my family, my country, my this thing. So Prabhupada in long of this, he writes that these conditions, which is Tamishra, Andhatamishra, Tamas, Moha, and Mahamoha. So these are the cause of our ignorance of the conditioned soul. And ultimately, because of that, a living entity is tied in this material world. So identifying basically Tamishra means anger, Andhatamishra means ending, considering the life between birth and death to be everything. Tamas is the ignorance, which is identifying ourselves only with the body. And then moha is the attachment to this body, and mahamoha is the attachment to the extension of these bodies, like family, society, community, country. So, like that. So, according to Brahma, these are the causes of ignorance of the conditions. So, but unfortunately, if we see ourselves, we are totally this thing. That's why Prabhupada writes in the purport of this shloka that 99% of living entities in this material world are in the mode of ignorance because everybody see, leave about animals. Animals don't have intelligence to identify outside body. But human beings also, 99% of the human beings identify just ourselves with the body. And so, which is very, very, harmful for our progress on the spiritual life. Moving further, so Brahma creates, so he threw off this body of ignorance. In the one of the purport, we'll see many bodies Brahma is throwing in this chapter. So Prabhupada explained at the later stage in one of the purport in this chapter that when we are saying that Brahma cast off this body, he's just that mentality he's casting off. So he doesn't physically, he threw the body, he left the body. That didn't happen. So he threw this body of ignorance, which he created out of Tamishra, Andhamishra, Tamas, Moha, and Mahamoha. So out of that, what happens is that Rakshasas and Yakshas were created. And they took the opportunity of taking the possession of this body, which took the form of night. So this from this shadow of Brahma, indirectly, which means this shadow of the Brahma, night came, and Yakshas and Rakshasas took the possession of night. Means in night, intelligent beings, sadhu beings are not active. Only Rakshasas and Yakshas are. Indirectly, this means like that. So they started running behind the Brahma. So Brahma and the these Rakshasas, who was created by Brahma, is running behind Brahma to eat him because hunger is the representation of night. Okay, so so then what happened is that somehow Brahma told these people that don't, you are my sons, I have created you, so you should not eat me. So then he created in the mode of goodness, he created demigods in the form of daylight. So from his body, shadow came the night, from his body came the mode of goodness, of this body came the devatas. And then further, Brahma gives birth to demons from his buttock and who are very fond of sex. And they were so lustful that they started approaching Brahma itself for the union. They were so agitated by the lusty desire. So Prabhupada writes in purport that sexual life is very, very big hindrance in our progress of our spiritual life. So initially, Brahma, it laughed at those people, asuras, for being shameless. But later, when he saw that they are not going to leave him, he started running towards Lord Vishnu. And Lord Vishnu told that, one good thing about here is that, Lord, here one of the purport Prabhupada is in detail talking about Lord Narayana. As I was saying, in this chapter, Prabhupada has given very short purports, but wherever it's talk about the Lord or his devotees, Prabhupada is writing big purports. So Brahma approaches Lord Vishnu, and so Lord Vishnu tells him that you leave this body, you cast off this body. So again, this casting of this body, which is the mindset of Brahma, comes the evening part, which is the twilight. Twilight means the union of day and night. That point is called as twilight. So that time, because these Brahmas were running around behind this thing, Brahma, so this prominent aspect of this became the mode of ignorance and mode of passion. So, what these Rakshasas, they looked at this twilight, which was a personified, evening time. So it took a form of a beautiful lady, because these asuras were looking for somebody to union. So, looking at this lady, these asuras became very agitated. They glorified this, beauty of this lady, and at last, this there are a couple of shlokas which go in the explaining the beauty of this girl, and so asuras, they basically this thing. So Brahma at last, he laughs at it, and he says that, so this moment of the evening, where the morning, daytime and evening meets, daytime and night meets, that point is, Brahma tells that this is the mode of passion, or rather is the mode of passion with the prominence of ignorance. So our Shastras say that when it's the time of evening, we should not generally do the union between man and woman. That should not happen. The reason is this only, because the Rakshasas had union with the woman. So, and we have read in the pastime of Diti and Kashyapa, when Diti approaches Kashyap, and Kashyap Muni tries to say to Diti that please don't, that was the evening time. And this is the time when Lord Shiva goes with all his Bhutaganas and ghostly people who are not getting any body. And Shiva is Ashutosh. He is very, very merciful. So he is looking for some place to play, this, what do you call, the souls to get life. So when men and women union in the time of evening, then ghostly, generally the demons are born. That's what our scriptures say. So Brahma then he laughs at this thing, but out of his loveliness, Gandharvas and Apsaras are born. And Gandharvas and Apsaras are, Gandharvas are like singers and Apsaras are like dancers. So generally this music and dance is considered as the mode of passion. And Prabhupada writes in the purport of this shloka that, but the same thing when it is used in the service of the Lord, like singing and dancing, it becomes a devotional activity, and it becomes a activity done in the mode of goodness. So any activity of this material world, when we associate with God, Krishna, then that will become the activity of devotional service. Then further in this chapter, we say that Brahma created ghost and bhoot and pishachas, and these. So then bhoot and pishachas. One interesting point that Brahma was yawning. So from the yawning, his body was cast off, and then bhoot and pishachas, they took over the body. So Prabhupada is writing in the purports that people who are sleeping too much, or they drool while sleeping, the ghosts and pishachas, they take over. So be careful if you are drooling while sleeping. So anyway, then further, Pitras are created from the Brahma creates various pitas. and and Siddhas and Vidyadharas. They are various forms of um, or we can say a smaller version of demigods, Siddhas and Vidyadharas. So, like he also created the Kim Purshas or Kinnaras. So, Apsaras, Gandharvas, Siddhas, Vidyadharas, Kim Purshas, Kinkaras, they all were created one by one after by the Lord Brahma. And at once, when he was very, sort of gloomy, or in the Prabhupada is writing the word sullen mood, he gave up this one body of that, and from that body, whatever the hair fell, the snakes and the serpents and nagas, they were created. And then after all this is done, then at last in one of the days, when Brahma is very good mood, he created Manus and other Prajapatis. So this Manu, which is the human form, apart from that, Marichis and other Saptarishis were created. And after looking at this beautiful form of human being, which was exactly like Brahma himself, the Brahma becomes very this thing, and he gives the sacrificial activity, mode of goodness activities he gives. For example, austerity, penances, mental concentration, absorption, devotion, all this is given by the Brahma to the human beings, basically the Manus. So after the Manu is created, Lord Brahma becomes satisfied, and other Prajapatis, and he gives them task to further create the progeny, create the population. So one of the important things which Prabhupada talks about austerity in the last shloka of this chapter is that, there are greatest austerity or renunciation is to follow the four regulative principles. In this Kali Yuga, doing any other austerity is not possible. Just doing four regulative principle itself is a big thing. Once Prabhupada was approached by one of his disciples, that he asked, okay, this is Chaturmas, Guru Maharaj, what can I do? So Prabhupada said, you just follow four regulative principle. That is the greatest austerity in this age of Kali Yuga. So even to do, like, for example, avoiding illicit sex life, avoiding meat eating, avoiding intoxication, and avoiding gambling. So these are the four principles of tapasya. So this is very, very much important to follow these principles, regulative principles in our life, so that we can make progress in the spiritual life. So it is very important. So of course, Lord Brahma, gave various kind of, sacrificial elements to human beings. And in Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna says that, human beings are meant to do sacrifice for the pleasure of demigods and Lord Narayana. But ultimately, to please Narayana is the sacrifice. So like that, in this chapter, we see that how Brahma has created various living beings. So now the point is that, why this question was asked? Because the next chapter onwards, the story of Swambhu Manu will start, and Swambhu Manu will approach Kardam Rishi, and Kardam Rishi will, out of the union of Devahuti and Kardam Muti, Kapil Dev will be born, and then the Shiksha, the teachings of Kapil Dev will be discussed in further chapter. So this chapter, in between the two stories, it is the context setting of that particular this thing. So with this is the, I felt that if I go in too much detail in this chapter, it may get a little bit, I don't want to use the word boring for Srimad Bhagavatam, but little bit somehow we are not able to link to it. So I just thought at the end I will discuss some pastimes of Lord Narsimdev. So actually, I had a very nice lecture, and I found a very interesting point, and which I was able to relate as well. So this Narasimha Chaturdashi, I was in temple and I was talking to devotees. One devotee from the other circle I was talking to. So as usual, we ask, so Prabhu, what's special on Narasimha Chaturdashi? So the devotee is saying, Prabhu, I chanted 16 rounds of Ugram Viram Mahavishnu. So mantra. So I was a little bit taken aback, and I didn't have an answer to that. And I just thought that, is it what is recommended for Gaudiya Vaishnavas, which are, we are the part of Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara. So for us, the Ishta Devata is Shri Radha Krishna, Shri Gaur Nitai. That's what, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has, taught us. And then, we get the festivals like Vaman Dwadashi, Varha Dwadashi, Ram Navami, Narasimha Chaturdashi. So what should be our mood on these festivals? I know each of the form, it is the expansion of the form, expansion of the Lord only. So it's not that we have to discriminate between various forms of the Lord. And we should have the right mood of surrender. So any festival comes, we pray to that form or that expansion of the Lord, praying to them to give us their mercy. But at the same time, we should know that what is our real mood. So when we worship Lord Narsimdev, we basically worship because generally, that our Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara is the primary bhava or primary mood which is there in the Parampara is the Madhurya Bhava of Radha Krishna and Gopis, and Radharani is the prime Gopi of these all the Gopis. So it's basically the our goal is to get the mood of Gopis. But our goal is not to go to generally we discussed this many times that we don't want to, devotees even don't want to go to Vaikuntha Loka, which is very, very rare to even get it. But of course, that's a bhava of the pure devotees in Vaishnava, Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara. We should not, we at our stages of sadhaka bhakta, we should not have that mood, oh, Vaikuntha Loka is low, oh, Narsim Loka is low. Like that, we don't think. But at the same time, we should understand that what is the mood of our parampara. So when we become a part of a parampara, whatever is Ishta Devata, our worshipable deity is given to us by our Acharya, by our spiritual master. That deity becomes the primary, our worshipable deity. So it's not that when we are worshipping Nasimdev, we are diluting our mood. No, that's not the case. But we should understand what is the Nasimdev's position in Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara. So for us, everything which is originating has the origin in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because whatever Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has told us, we are doing that. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told us to do Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we are doing Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So when many times this is asked, okay, why only Mahamantra, Hare Krishna Mahamantra? In one of the places, Srila Prabhupada told that even Panchatattva is more powerful than Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So it is something like Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the worshipable deity of, for Kali Yuga, who gave us the Harinam Sankirtan. So if we chant the name of Lord Chaitanya, that itself is enough actually. And then you chanting the name of Panchatattva, that is great. But then Srila Prabhupada say, but same Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has asked us to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That's why we are chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So now, if we see that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his lifetime, he showed various examples where he represented himself as Narsimdev. For example, there is a pastime that once Chaitanya Mahaprabhu goes to the house of Srivas Thakur. And Srivas Thakur, that day he was doing the Shraddha of his father, I think father or great grandfather, whatever. He was doing some Shraddha. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu goes there, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asks Srivas Pandit to recite Vishnu Sahasranam. So Srivas Pandit recites Vishnu Sahasranam. When in the Vishnu Sahasranam, when the name of Lord Narasimha comes, suddenly Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes in ecstasy. And he starts roaring like Narasimhadev. And he starts running out of the house, and Srivas Pandit is running behind. And he loudly roaring like, lion. And he starts saying, where are these atheists? I will kill everybody. Anybody who will trouble my devotees, I'll kill them. And then what happens is not all the atheists, even devotees get scared, then they run away from there. So after some time, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu calms down, he comes back and he says to Srivas Pandit, okay, I think I have done a mistake that I have what to say, shooed away all the, devotees as well. So Shivas Pandit says that, Lord, just seeing just basically having your darshan basically takes away all the anartha. What about seeing you in the form of Narsim Dev? Anybody who sees you, who has seen you today in the form of Narsim Dev, their anarthas for the lives together will go, and they will attain the eternal prema for Radha and Krishna. So this is a pastime which is mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Another pastime like this is mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita is that when these Yavanas, basically Muslim rulers, when they were troubling, the devotees in Navadvip, at that point of time, one day, actually Srivas Pandit had one form of Narsimha deities which he used to worship. So one day when he had closed his whatever puja room or with the room where he was worshipping, and he was worshipping to Ugra Narasimha form of Lord. At that point of time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes to the house of Srivas Pandit and he knocks the door loudly. And Srivas Pandit is not opening the door. So he is just so much engrossed in the worship that he is not able to hear that Lord Gauranga is banging the door. So then, after some time, Srivas Thakur, he sees a big fire breaking out in his puja room. And when this fire subsides, he sees that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is sitting on the altar in the four-armed form with the Shankh, Chakra, Gada, Padma. And he's roaring like a lion. And he's banging his left thigh. Like, when we see the Narasimha pastime, Lord Narasimha banged his thigh when Hiranyakashipu, he was angry. So that form, and then Srivas Thakur, he just gets scared. He says, what happened to Lord Gauranga? He has taken the form of Lord Narasimha. And he basically then, what he does is that, Lord Gauranga says that, Srivas Thakur, you and Nada means Advaita Acharya. He used to call him Nada. So he says that because of you and Nada only, I have come to this material world to finish all the atheists. Why you are who have got me into this material world are scared of these Yavanas. Don't you think that I can finish off these Yavanas will just in 1 second? So indirectly he's saying that, why you are scared? When I'm there to protect you, then why you are scared, Shiva Thakur? You and Advaita Acharya, why you are scared? So this pastime shows that, we say Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahi Anya. So we can also say Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Narasimha Dev Nahi Anya. So means there is no difference between Narasimha Dev and Lord Chaitanya, who has this thing. So so it doesn't mean that Lord Gauranga or Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed this form only to Srivas Thakur. In Chaitanya Bhagavat actually says that, various times in Navadvip, Lord Gauranga showed various forms to the devotees. And one of the form which he showed in one of the instances is Shatabhuja form. One of the Shatbhuj form we are aware when Lord Gauranga showed to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, but that was in Jagannath Puri. One of the Shatbhuja form was shown to the devotees in Navadvip. There, the two arms were of Lord Krishna with flute and whatever. I think two arms, the flute, and then two arms were having bow and arrow, Lord Ram, and two arms were having conch and shank and chakra of and Narsim Dev. So face was like Narsim Dev. So this form was shown by the Lord Gauranga in, this is mentioned in Chaitanya Bhagavat. And Lord Chaitanya himself, whenever he used to enter, so in Chaitanya Charitamrita, very interestingly, it is mentioned that when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to go to Jagannath temple, he will wash his feet. And then it's mentioned that he used to offer obeisances to one form of the Lord. one particular shrine he used to offer obeisances from the left side, and he used to recite a shloka. Anybody knows what the shloka is, which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to recite? Nobody knows?
Was it Jai Narsimha, Shri Narsimha, Jai Jai Shri Narsimha?
Yeah, that also he used to recite, but mainly it was another one, which is our what we sing as Narsimha. This is Namaste Narsimhaya Prahlad Ahlad Daine Hiranya Kashyapu Vaksha Shilatankal Nakhalai. So this he used to, this is from the Narsimha Purana, this shloka. So we sing this arti, no? So till Bahe Narsimha Hridaye Narsimha Narsimha Madim Sharanam Prapadye, right? So these, up to this point, these prayers are actually from Narsimha Purana, which we sing every day. So we know Namaste Narsimhaya means I offer my obeisances to Narsimha. Prahlad Ahlad Daine, the person who gives Ahlad means happiness to the Prahlad. Hiranya Kashyapu Vaksha Shilatankal Nakhalai. So the stone-like chest of Hiranyakashipu was tore apart by whom? By the nails of Lord Narasimha. What is this? Bahe Narasimha, Hridaye Narasimha. What is that? Before that, what is the line? Yato Narasimha, Parato Narasimha. Yato Yato Yami, Tato Narasimha. So Narasimha Dev is here, Narasimha Dev is here, there, Narasimha Dev is everywhere. Then we say Hridaye Narasimha. So outside also is Narasimha, inside also is Narasimha. Narasimha Madim Sharanam Prapadye. So that original source of everything, Narasimha Dev, I offer by obeisances. The next part of our Narasimha Arati is Tava Kara Kamala Vare. So where does it has come from? Anybody knows?
Dasavtaram.
Dashavtara Stotram. Yes. Dashavtara Stotram has come from where? Anybody knows? And who wrote Dashavtara Stotram?
Jaidev Goswami.
Sorry, Mataji, could you repeat? Jaidev Goswami, yes. And it is a part of Geet Govind. So this Dashavtar Stotram was very dear to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he used to often hear this from Ramanand Raya and Swarup Damodar. So our second line of Tavakara Kamalavare, Nakham Adbhuta Shringam. So basically the lotus-like hands of Narasimhadev is having the sharp nails, like thunderbolt-like, nails, and he's killing the Hiranyakashipu like an ordinary insect is killed by the person. Ordinary human being kills insect, no? If some insect is there, a person can just within his finger, he can kill that insect. Like that, Narasimhadev, the most powerful Hiranyakashipu was killed by this thing. So the source of this Narasimha Arti, of course, Chaitanya Srila Prabhupada introduced this in 1970 when there was during a Rath Yatra, there was somebody has thrown one small, what is a crude bomb kind of thing in ISKCON in, I think, San Francisco, if I remember properly. So after that, Srila Prabhupada suggested his disciples to recite Narasimha Arti. Also, when he was sick, he has told his devotees that you should pray to Narasimhadev. So source of our Narasimha, this thing is coming from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he is offering prayers to Narasimhadev. Also, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, gave the instructions to Sanatan Goswami to write Hari Bhakti Vilas, where he told him to, write the detailing about how a devotee's life should be and what a devotee should follow. So in one of the section, he tells Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructs Sanatan Goswami that you should write about the daily activities of, devotees and what is the need of devotees, why a devotee should take initiation, and like those kind of qualification of a guru, qualification of a disciple. There he instructs that you also write what kind of fasting a devotee should do. And there he gives the name of certain kind of fasting. So he tells that you write about the fasting of Ekadashi, you write about Janmashtami, Ram Navami, Vaman Dwadashi, Narsimha Chaturdashi, etc. So he tells that, these, so basically indirectly he's saying these are the festivals which a devotee should follow. So this is also coming from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instruction that Narsimha Chaturdashi, Ram Navami, Vaman Dwadashi, these all are being told by the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his instruction to Sanatan Goswami. And then when Lord went to the South Indian, yatra, so that point of time, Sangeeta Satyabhama Mataji was just saying, Shri Narasimha, Jai Jai Shri Narasimha, Prahladesha, Jaya Padma, Mukha Padma, Bringa. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he came on South India Yatra and he went, it's mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela that when Lord went to Jyad Narasimha, which is Simhachalam in today's this thing, then as soon as he saw the Lord, he fell flat in front of the Lord. Basically, his Dandavas Pranam he did. And he offered these prayers. Shri Narasimha, Jai Jai Shri Narasimha, Prahladesha Jaya Padma, Mukha Padma, Pringa. So this is also one shloka generally we recite when we sing Narasimha Arti. So what does this mean? Shri Narasimha, Jai Jai Shri Narasimha. That we already know. Prahladesha Jaya Padma. Prahlada Isha means he is the Lord of Prahlada. Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Bringa. So his face is like, lotus, and Mother Lakshmi, who is looking at this lotus face of Narasimhadev, like a honeybee looks at the lotus, like that it means. So, which means is that, Mother Lakshmi always relishing the, lotus mouth of Lord Narasimha. And he also prayed, offered one shloka, which becomes the basis of our philosophy actually about Narasimhadev. So in Madhya Leela 8.6, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recites the shloka when he entered into this Himachalam temple. He says, Ugro api anugra evayam sarva bhaktanam nirkeshari Keshariya Swapotanam Potanam Anesham Agra Vikramaha. So this was the shloka which is taken from the commentary of Sridhar Swami on Srimad Bhagavatam in the 7th canto when Prahlad pastime is discussed. So that time, this shloka was composed by Sridhar Swami. Sridhar Swami is one of the commentary he has written on Chaitanya, on Srimad Bhagavatam. It is much before when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. Also before that, he has written this commentary. And this commentary is very much appreciated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he considered is authorized for the devotees to read that one of the comment. So from that, he took this shloka. And what is the shloka means? Although I'm just explaining in the words, translation I'm not saying exactly. So which means Narsimhadev, who is very ferocious, ugro api anugra evayam, swabhaktanam nirkeshari. But this Narkeshari, Narsimhadev, for his bhaktanam, what he is? Keshariya swapotananam, potanam. Potanam means the sun. Keshariya means lioness. So when a lioness, although she is very ferocious to the outside world, to his own cubs, she is very soft, very lovingly. So same way, this Narasimhadev is to his devotees. Although he is very ferocious, we know that pastimes of how Mayapur deities came, right? So I'll not go because time is over. But when the devotees approached this, I think, Kumbhakonam, if I remember properly, to carve the deities of Ugnarasimha of Mayapur, none of those Shilpkars were ready to, carve Narasimha deities. They were so scared. They were saying, no, Ugra Narasimha, if we carve, it is very, it's very ferocious form. It will bring inauspiciousness. So nobody was ready. So people in general, they consider Ugra Narasimha, oh, means he will. But in our ISKCON temples, Ugra Narasimha form of the Lord is worship. Of course, in our temple, we have Sharp Narasimha. But in Mayapur, we have Ugra Narasimha. So this form of the Lord, although it is very ferocious for the non-devotees, but for devotees, it is like a lioness who is licking the, So we see when Narsimdev saw Prahlad Maharaj, he kept his paw on his head, and he was licking like a lion licks his cups, right? So that is also mentioned in Bhagavatam. So we see how Lord is loving to his devotees. As time is over, I had few other pastimes, but anyway, I'll just refer to the famous prayers of Prahlad Maharaj in Srimad Bhagavatam, which many of the devotees recite also. Om Namo Bhagavate Narsimhaya, Namas Tejas Tejase, Avir Avir Bhabha, Vajra Nakha, Vajra Dhamsta, Karmashyan, Randhya Randhya, Tamo Grasa Grasa Om Swaha, Abhyam Abhyam Atmani, Bhuyishta Om Shram. So this also tells the mood of what Prahlad Maharaj is offering prayers to Narsimdev. He says, the translation of this goes like this: I offer my respectful obeisances unto Lord Narsimdev, souls of all power. O my Lord, who possesses nails and thirst like teeth, like just like thunderbolts, kindly vanquish our demon-like desires for fruitive activity in this material world. Please appear in our heart and drive away our ignorance, so that by your mercy we may become fearless in the struggle for the existence in this material world. So this is the prayer that Prahlad Maharaj is offering to Narsimdev. He's saying, remove our desire to materially enjoy in this world, which is the cause of all our fear and struggle in this world. So when we pray to Narsimdev, our mood should be to pray for his mercy so that we don't anymore struggle in this material world. And Bhakti Vinod Thakur, in his prayers to Narsimdev in Narsimha Navadvi Bhav Taranga, he has written one beautiful prayer. I wish time was there, I can read whole prayer. But in that prayer, he prays to Narsimdev that please give your mercy. It's a long prayers, but the essence is like that please give your mercy so that all the obstacles on the path of my bhakti to Radha Krishna is, cleared. And I become, eternal resident of Navdvip Dham. Please give me that, give me that strength. Remove all the anarthas of my heart so that I can do eternal bhakti to Shri Radha Krishna. And like that, he is like long prayers, but he essence of that is that. And he says that by your mercy, I can eternally reside in the Navadvip Dham. So we should understand that, we also know the pastimes of Chand Kazi, right? Where the Chand Kazi, who was the Navadip ruler, he made this thing that nobody will do Sankirtan. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took the first, assembled all the devotees, and they took the mashal and fire, this thing, what do you call it? Mashal ko kya kehte hain English mein? Like, it is like fire, whatever, in the hands. And then they went towards Chan Kazi, and there was a long philosophical discussion, which is part of Chaitanya Charitamrita. In that, one of the incident is that where Chan Kazi says that in night, there was one person appeared like a lion and half human. He sat on my chest and he was beating my chest, and he's saying, don't dare to trouble my devotees from doing my bhakti. So from all these pastimes, what we understand is that mood in Gaudiya Vaishnavas is to worship the Lord Narsimha as Vigna Vinasha, as the form of the same Lord Krishna, or same Lord Gauranga, or same Lord Jagannath, who is taken of one form, but that form's job is to remove the obstacles on our spiritual path. So he is Vigna Vinash. He can remove all the obstacles which are on the path of our bhakti. So if we pray with that mood, then we should not get carried away by emotionally, somebody, I'm not saying chanting Ugram Viram is anything wrong on this thing, but on our initiated beats, we are supposed to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And that is so Ugram Viram also, if we can chant on our initiation beat, not this is a problem, but not at the cost of whatever has been given by our spiritual master or Srila Prabhupada for non-initiated devotees. So we should not get carried away by that, but always remember that whatever form of the Lord we worship, we should always remember that for us, the ultimate this thing is Shri Radha Krishna. The worship of Radha Krishna is the highest, form of worship for Gaudiya Vaishnava. I'm not saying that, in other paramparas, it is various deities are attended to, and nothing wrong in that, and nothing wrong in worshipping Narsimdev also. But always remember what the essence of that, so that we don't get carried away by this thing. So, like, I see some devotees, when Ganesh Chaturthi comes, then initiated devotees, they will keep Ganesha in their house, and then they will give the logic that we are offering first to Krishna, and then we are offering to Ganesha, and but Krishna is, and a lot of people, specifically North Indians, are very much attracted to Laddu Gopal, and first of all, Laddu Gopal is not a term. We should say Gopalji or something like that. But our parampara mood is the madhurya bhav, or the rasa of gopis worshipping the Krishna. It's not that we cannot worship Laddu Gopal, we cannot worship Narsimdev, we cannot worship Balaji. It's not there. In our temples, only these deities are there. But for a devotee, there should not be any deviation from understanding, because we are a part of a parampara. We are an initiated devotee or aspiring to get initiated. So we should not, do too much of, the word is used in our parampara is rasabhas. Do not get conflicting rasas in this thing. For us anyway, we are at the move. The main mood is dasya bhav, because we are not at a level of any, like gopis. We don't pretend like Sahajiyas to become gopis, or like Hanumanji and like all that. We are worshipping in the dasya bhav only. But remember what is the goal for all of us is, and don't get too much carried away by this thing. So every day we sing Narsimha Arti, praying to Narsimha. I remember when our deities in our temple were installed, when Narsimha Arti was offered first time, Vardhakrishna Prabhu told that, we'll add, I don't know, now with the time it has disappeared, but initially we used to sing. At the end, when we say Jai Narsimha Dev, Jai Narsimha Dev, at that point, Bhakta Vatsala, Jai Narahari, Vigna Vinashak Narahari. So, Lord form of Narsimdev is a Bhakta Vatsala form. Lord did not come to kill Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu he could have killed by other means also. Only thing he came is to just keep the word of his devotee Prahlad. So we all should remember that Lord is merciful. In all forms, Lord, specifically in Narasimha form, he is very, very merciful. And we should always keep praying whenever we are facing the obstacles in our this thing. We should pray to Lord Narasimha to give his mercy, remove all the obstacles on the path of bhakti. Okay, sorry, it is 7:25. I'll end here. Thank you so much for patiently hearing. Anybody has any comments or question, we can take up.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Sorry, yeah, go ahead, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhu. It was a wonderful class, and the pastimes of Lord Narasimha were so beautiful. Prabhuji, like I was hearing in one of the lecture by Amoglila Prabhuji, that morning aarti which we are offering to Lord Narasimha is actually offered to Mahaprabhu, but what we are doing in the morning. So I was really, this was something very new for me, because Guru
See,
Maharaj.
as I don't know the specific incident, because maybe I should hear this lecture in the context what he told. I don't know about that. But what this is the same point I was trying to make, is that, ultimately this thing is Radha Krishna combined in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So our ultimate goal doesn't mean that, we'll remove all, okay, I will not worship any other form of the Lord and all that. That's not that fanaticism is not there in our parampara. When these festivals come, we understand that how glorious the Lord is, that he takes various forms for the pleasure of his devotees. But ultimately, for us, the goal is to get the prema, Krishna prema, like what is having Radha Rani is having, what is gopis are having. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is personification of that love to Radha and Krishna. And time and again, he has shown that love to us. So I guess that was the meaning, that must be the meaning of Amar Leela Prabhu's when we offer the prayers to Narsimdev, we are offering prayers to Mahaprabhu. For ultimate, the worshipable deities is Radha Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Yes,
But
Prabhuji.
if you can send me the lecture, maybe I can hear and try to understand what is the
Yes,
context.
Prabhuji. I'll share, Prabhuji. So, Prabhuji, we are not elevated now. Like, we can worship Radha and Krishna.
Yes,
So we should always, it is a good idea that we should always worship Lord Chaitanya because this is what we are trying to do.
yes, that's what is recommended. That's why most of the time it is recommended that whenever we want to keep the deities of Radha Krishna, we should take permission from our spiritual master. Before that, we should not do it because our spiritual master knows what is our real condition is. No, but for, of course, for anything we do in life, we take the permission of spiritual master, even worshipping Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, Gaur. But if you see the senior devotees, always they say, first have Gaurnita in your house. Worship Gaurnita for some time. Gaurnita is very, very, they don't take any offense. They don't, of course, Lord in any form doesn't take any offense, but means is, if you just chant the name of the Lord, if you are just doing the Sankirtan, Harinam Sankirtan, Lord Gauranga is pleased. So that's the easiest form to start worshipping. Then we can go to Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, or at least have, if you want to, still some devotees, you can have together, you can buy and install them at home. But Radha Krishna should be exclusively discussed in detail with Guru Maharaj and the senior devotees before this thing, because that bhava is very high. So it's very difficult for us to initially, have that. So it is not recommended generally. So as you said, ideal is Gaurnita, Pashmi Gaurnita.
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, also you mentioned like many shlokas and like Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 8.6, this shloka you mentioned. So
Mhm.
there's one more shloka, Prabhuji. This is Jwala Ahovilam Alola Krodha Karanya Bhargava. Where this has come from, Prabhuji?
I had heard our Shuddha Prabhu saying it, I think Brahman Puran or somewhere. He very often recites it. One day I was standing there and I was hearing that, but this is not from Srimad Bhagavatam surely, but it is from some other this thing, which basically glorifying the different forms of Narsimdev. But to be honest, I don't remember the exact this thing. Maybe Shuddha Prabhu would be the ideal person because he makes everybody recite that in our
And this
temple also.
mantra. Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so
Thank
much
you,
for the
Mataji.
wonderful class, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandal Pranam. Sorry,
Hare
we are
Krishna,
taking
Prabhu.
all the time.
Yeah, no problem, Prabhu.
It's so nice class, Prabhuji. You set the mood right because in the last few days or I don't know week, I was so much agitated with the war between India and Pakistan and many things. So what happens is naturally I don't know, it's not natural, but the mood moves to protection, material protection mode, and praying to Narasimhadev all the time. So that was the thought process I was having. We did some classes also where we prayed to Narasimhadev to protect our country, people, everything.
That's perfectly
So
fine. That's
yeah,
perfectly fine.
but at the same time, sometimes it kind of dilutes also, our focus goes on our material protection. So I think you have set it right very clearly by talking about how it is important to pray to Lord Narasimhadev to protect us in the spiritual path. So I think this purifies the heart. So,
I think being devotees, one thing we should understand that, Lord, when we are praying to the Lord Nasimdev specifically for the removing the obstacles on our spiritual path, don't, I think I'm talking about myself. I'm not saying to everybody else, but I'm saying that we should not underestimate that Lord is not going to remove our material obstacles.
yes, Prabhuji, absolutely.
And Lord will remove material obstacles also if they are obstacles on the path of bhakti. So I heard in one of the lecture the same point that somebody asked after Lord Narasimha's class that what about our material problems? And the speaker is saying that don't underestimate the Lord that he will not, but maybe he may not remove the way we are expecting him to remove. Maybe he will remove in some other way. But of course, see, for devotees, it's mentioned in Nectar of Devotion also that in the time of difficulty, devotee can operate. We cannot be so rigid. Oh, now Draupadi approached Krishna, Gajendra approached Narayana, So it's not that, devotees cannot approach in material difficulty because we are dependent on Lord. So where will we go when material difficulty is there? We'll go to the Lord only. So it's nothing wrong. But remember the essence. We should remember that essence is that, ultimately we are looking for, ultimate goal, which is the superior love for Radha and Krishna. That is our goal.
Yes, Prabhuji, because we have been experiencing the protection of Narasimhadeva even before we came to ISKCON. We are like so foolish. Even now we are foolish, praying to Narasimhadeva for everything from long.
It's not foolish, Prabhu. That is intelligent.
It was always like that. He was protecting very, unconditionally. And anything you ask for, he protects immediately. Anything you ask for, he gives. That's the experience.
Actually, I don't know if Rigesh Prabhu is there on the call. I don't know if he's there or not. Okay. So even the Shobha city, you all devotees have come when we prayed to Narasimhadev. We were doing preaching in Shobha city for long earlier. It was Balwan Prabhu who used to do. After he left, he gave it to us. And it was almost 4 or 5 years. There was no real devotee who was, So in 2018 or 19, I don't know which year you joined. So that year we were totally fed up with the attendees of Shobha City program because they were not making any progress and they were very, difficult to handle. So when Janmashtami came, we both were very low because we had done, I think, 1 or 2 Janmashtami ourselves before Balwan Prabhu used to do. And we didn't see any result. And we just went to Narasimhadev and I told Rigesh Prabhu that, please let's pray to Narasimhadev. And this time we are literally threatening to Narasimhadev that if you are not giving us sincere devotees, we are going to stop Shobha City preaching because we were so much, were like, not at all feeling low about not making much. And just before Janmashtami, we both prayed to Narasimhadev that if you feel that we can be instrument in inspiring any devotee in Shobha City, please give us, some sincere souls with whom we feel motivated to this thing. And that's the year where we met you, Santosh Prabhu, Vikas Prabhu. So as you said that, foolishly we are asking, it's not foolishly, Prabhu, it is intelligence. A person knows where to go when there is a difficulty. So we devotee always go to the Lord. We are not going to any material person, please give me money, please remove. We don't, of course, we go to doctors and all that, but we know unless the Lord is sanctioning, it is not going to happen. So we should know that.
Thank you.
Any other question or comments?
Sorry for taking too much time. I apologize.
No issues, Prabhu. That's perfectly.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So thank you for the wonderful session and including the sweet pastimes of Narasimhadev from Gaur Leela especially. So in that way we can actually connect our paramparas mood and connect to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in all aspects actually. So thank you for the wonderful session. So if nobody is having any questions or comments, so we would wind up the session. So I would request